Hey guys, this is the Spyderco UKPK. This is a slip joint. Got this knife about 2 years ago, I think. Bought it from a friend of mine who lives in Germany. We were talking knives, what I want to buy, what he wants to buy, and he said, "Oh, you are looking for a UKPK? Well, I have one. I'll give you a good price on it." It came to me, and then I realized, oh crap, I forgot to tell him that I wanted the regular leaf-shaped design blade from Spyderco. He, of course, offered to take it back. I said, no, that's fine. I also didn't ask about the steel, and when I saw CTS BD1, I said, I've never worked with this steel, so let's give it a shot. And of course, I sharpened it and started carrying it around the house. But why was I curious about a slip joint in the first place? Because this was my first ever pocket knife. My dad bought it for me when I was 12. And from when I was 12 till maybe I was 20 or 22 years old, I carried this knife and I used it. I've sharpened it very poorly, as you can see. I have not maintained this knife. I do not work with it anymore. It has more of a sentimental value. It was the first knife that my dad ever bought me. And I wanted to try another slip joint because there are some fun slip joints out there. They look good, and I said, why not? Uh, in the years that I have used this knife, 8 or 10 years that I've cut things with this knife, also abused this knife because I was never one to say, oh, this is just a slicing tool. I remember very clearly I chopped using this knife. I chopped a tree branch with this knife. I never ever closed the knife on my hand because I knew it was a slip joint. I knew it had limitations. So I was looking for a slip joint. I said, what do I choose? A lot of people were saying a lot of things about the UKPK. And I said, I am looking for a knife to have around with me at all times, even when I'm around house. This one is a lightweight knife. It only weighs 48 grams. It has the pocket clip. You can disassemble it, unlike some other Spyderco models, which you can't disassemble. Real shame that is. I said, yeah, let's try it. So I did. Why do I need a knife around the house? Of course, I live in an apartment and you can easily walk to the kitchen if you have something to cut. But I'm very passionate about knives. I'm a knife guy, so to say. So I like to cut things. Right now, I keep the 940 on me at all times. I have it with me right here. And I like to cut things with it. Whenever there's something to cut, I do it. If it's like that saying, if all you have is a hammer, everything around you seems like it's a nail. Same thing, if you're very into knives, you want to cut everything that needs cutting. Before I throw a cardboard box away, I will cut it up. Uh, Whenever there's something to open, you can break it off or you can cut it off, cut it open. So that's why I like to have a blade with me. And this one, well, lightweight, nice pocket clip. Let's give it a shot. And I did. I did carry this around house and it did an excellent job. I found out that, of course, this is the perfect grip for it. It'll stop the blade from accidentally closing on your hand. And after you've worked with locking blades for so long, you tend to take this locking mechanism for granted. So it will be in your favor if you think about it. And this knife does not require that much thinking. It kind of begs you to hold it like this. If you hold it like this, it's going to be uncomfortable. You switch your hand here and it will be comfortable and it will keep the blade from closing on your hand. Now, that's one thing. The grip is comfortable for light tasks. This knife was thought out, I think, as a knife for lightweight tasks, cutting tasks, slicing in particular. Why do I say that? Well, look at this thin stock. I don't know, it's about 2 millimeters thin, I would say, maybe 2 point something back here, but the blade has a nice distal taper, not extreme, but very nice. It has a thin grind. This knife was meant for slicing. and not for prying or chopping. It does not have nested metal liners. Uh, it's not something like this, which was not meant for slicing. This was not meant for slicing. And it just shocks me whenever people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to chop with your ZT0561 like I just did in the video where I presented." And this knife was not meant for light slicing tasks. No, 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 no. This was meant to pry open doors. That's why it has this thing here to be used in extreme conditions, and you can't overextend the locking bar, and so on and so forth. However, this knife was meant for light cutting tasks, and it does those very, very well. I tried to carry this knife as an EDC. That didn't really work out because I like to have an EDC I can play with, something that's more fun, or something that looks cool, or something that is really practical. And it doesn't fit those categories for me. It might fit them for you. If you are one of those very pragmatic type of people who say, you know what, I need a slicing tool, I need a cutting tool, I need something lightweight, something that I really won't feel in my pocket, this can be it for you. If you don't want super steel, you can choose CTS BD1 and get a good price on the knife. You can get this knife in S30V with titanium handle scales and so on and so forth. But you can find this used for a very decent price, and this could be a cutting tool for years and years to come. And I say when it comes to cutting performance, this has the edge on a lot of Spyderco knives. Very comfortable in hand and a great slicer. So for a lot of EDC tasks, you will never need another knife. And some people are limited by law. So for them, this might be the only choice. And it's not a bad one. For me, it didn't really work out. I like the knife, good cutting performance. I can't tell you very much about CTS BD1 because I've only cut light things with it and I've kept it sharp by stropping. So I can imagine that if you're the type of person like me who uses a knife more for pleasure than for need of heavy duty cutting tasks, you're not going to have a problem with CTS BD1 and keeping it sharp via a strop. Yes, 48 grams is not a lot. However, I found something that I liked even more. The Dragonfly. I prefer to have a lock, any type of lock on my folders instead of just relying on this back spring and my brain to keep reminding me, hold on, you are not working with a locking folder. Because yes, this does help. This comes very natural. You open up this knife and you don't want to grab it like this because it feels uncomfortable. You immediately want to grab it like this. But I still don't want to expose myself, or let's just say I like having a locking mechanism. As for the Dragonfly, it's much smaller. It weighs about, 34 grams, so even less heavier than this one. Same pocket clip, which I like, and VG10, which is Spyderco's heat-treated VG10 is very good. I've tested it for a long time against some other companies. I'm not going to mention names, Falcon heat-treated VG10, and it just was way above it. Much like Benchmade's 154 cm was way above other companies' heat-treated 154 cm. So yeah, I prefer the Dragonfly. This one also has a nice full flat grind, but I haven't measured them. I probably should have. This one feels thinner. This one, however, I prefer the very sharp tip, and it's easier to control. That comes down to personal preference, as does everything else. As it stands, UKPK, not a bad choice. You just gotta figure it out. Is a slip joint for me or isn't it? Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer them as soon as I can. I'd like to thank you for watching, and as always, I wish you all a great day.